everyone, my name is Jasmine Akiram, and for today we are going to talk about the chapter 5. So let's discuss first the poem made by Rizal. So basahin ko sa inyo. O youth, illuminated by arts and letters, stride forth into the arena, break down the heavy fetters that bind your genius down. For in these tropic regions where untutored darkness once held sway, the wise and kindly Spanish hand bestows today a splendid crown upon the native of this eastern land. So it means that he is calling or encouraging the youth o yung mga kabataan na i-embrace ang education, particularly ang arts and letters, para daw ma-liberate o mapalaya nila yung sarili nila from ignorance and oppression o yung pang-aapi. In the next sentence, he said that, stride forth into the arena, break down the heavy fetters that bind your genius down. It simply means that he is urging the youth to step forward bravely and break free from anything holding you back. That's the meaning of the heavy fetters, or in other words, it symbolizes the barriers, so that you can show how smart and talented you are. And in the third sentence, he said that, for in these tropic regions where untutored darkness once held sway. So dito naman, nire-refer ni Rizal sa tropic regions na yan is ang Pilipinas, where there is a lack of education and enlightenment. Yung term na untutored darkness symbolizes ignorance and lack of knowledge. So Rizal suggests that there was a time where the people living in these tropical regions, including Philippines, lacked access to education and were therefore in a state of darkness or ignorance, na nagiging dahilan kung bakit limited lang yung opportunities nila para sa growth and development. And in the last sentence naman, he said that the wise and kindly Spanish hand bestows today a splendid crown upon the native of this eastern land. So Rizal is metaphorically referring to the Spanish colonial government, na ginamit niya yung imagery na bestowing a splendid crown. When we say bestowing, this is like to present as a gift o parang binigay ganun. To symbolize the recognition or acknowledgement given by the Spanish rulers to the people of the Philippines, who he refers to as the native of this eastern land. So, ibig sabihin, Rizal suggests that despite the historical challenges and injustices na dinulot ng Spanish colonization, may mga instances pa rin daw where the Spanish authorities offered support and assistance sa mga Filipino people. Now, moving on, let's now discuss the chapter 5. So fortunately, despite Rizal's tragic first romance, which is yung romance niya with Segunda Katigbak, which is first love niya. So if you watch the whole report of Miss Sharihan Alip, malalaman niyo dun kung bakit naging tragic yung love story nila ng first love niya na si Segunda Katigbak. So despite this, hindi pa rin ito naapektuhan yung studies niya sa University of Santo Tomas. So it serves as a proof na yung pagmamahal niya sa higher education is greater than his love for a pretty girl. So after niyang matapos ang first year niya sa course na Philosophy and Letters noong 1877 to 78, nag-transfer na siya sa medical course. So during the years of his studies in the university, which was under the Dominicans, the rival educators of the Jesuits, nanatili pa rin siyang loyal sa Ateneo, where he continued to participate in extracurricular activities, na kung saan natapos niya ang vocation course niya in surveying. So as a Tomasian, so Tomasian ang tawag sa mga students na nag-aaral sa University of Santo Tomas. Okay, so as a Tomasian, he won more literary laurels, had more romances with other girls, and fought against Spanish students. Now let's move to mother's opposition to higher education. So after makagraduate ni Rizal sa Ateneo with the highest honors, kinakailangan ni Rizal pumunta naman sa University of Santo Tomas in order to prepare himself for a career. So yung Bachelor of Arts degree noong panahon ng mga Kastila is katumbas na lang ngayon ng high school diploma. So ang qualified lang makapasok sa isang university is yung may hawak nito. So both si Don Francisco o yung father ni Rizal and si Pasiano na kuya ni Rizal is gusto nilang i-pursue ni Rizal ang higher learning. Pero, may pero ha, si Doña Teodora o ang mother ni Rizal is ayaw na niya mag-aral pa si Rizal ng mas mataas pa. So bakit? Kasi naniniwala siya na ang too much knowledge daw ang magdadala sa buhay ng anak niyang si Jose Rizal sa kapahamakan. So, in a family council in the Rizal home sa Calamba, she vigorously objected o talagang pinipilit niyang ayaw niyang ang mahal niyang anak na si Jose Rizal is mag-acquire pa ng higher knowledge or higher education. Iniisip lang naman niya ang safety ng anak niyang si Jose Rizal dahil alam niya ang sinapit na kapalaran ng mga Filipino intellectuals gaya ni Father Burgos, ni Antonio Marigidor at ni Jose Mabasa and other exiles of 1872 who were either executed or exiled by the Spanish authorities. When we say exiled, it means these are the individuals who were forced or chose to leave their home country. And ang sinisisi ni Doña Teodora sa sinapit nila isang kanilang learning o kaalaman. Natatakot si Doña Teodora sa mga Spanish authorities na parang naiinis o mainit ang dugo nila sa mga Filipinos who learned too much. So she warned her husband, sinabi niya sa asawa niya na, "Do not send Jose again to Manila. If he gets to know too much, they will cut off his head." And at that time na sinabi ito ni Doña Teodora sa kanilang family council, is nandoon rin si Rizal and na-shock siya kasi kilala niya ang kanyang ina bilang a woman of education and culture. And siya pa nga ang nagturo at nag-inspire kay Rizal na sumulat ng poetry. And she came from a family of high learning o galing siya sa pamilyang matataas ang mga pinag-aralan. Even her own brother and his uncle Jose Alberto Alonso had been educated abroad and kayang magsalita ng Spanish, French, English, and German. Pero eventually o kalaunan is nakumbinsi rin ni Don Francisco at ni Pasiano si Doña Teodora na payagan si Rizal, kaya ang ending is Jose Rizal will study at the University of Santo Tomas. So, years later, naalala bigla ni Jose Rizal yung paghinti ng mother niya para sa pag-aaral niya. And sumulat siya sa kanyang memoirs o parang diary ng, "Did she have a presentiment of what was going to happen to me? Can it be that a mother's heart gives her double vision?" So, sinabi niya rito na parang, what if meron kaya siyang hula, kutob o parang pangitain sa mangyayari sa akin? Maari kayang ang puso ng isang ina ay pwede magbigay sa kanya ng double vision. Means ang isa is yung talagang vision na nakikita ng mata niya At ang pangalawa is yung nakikita o nararamdaman niyang makakasama o makakabuti sa mga anak niya. 'Di ba? Ganyan naman talaga ang mga magulang. Minsan nararamdaman nila kung ano ba ang makakabuti at makakasama sa atin. So that ends the opposition of Jose Rizal's mother. Now let's move to Rizal enters the university. By the way, pagpasensyahan niyo na yung tilaok ng manok dahil sa kapitbahay namin yun. So, now let's move to Rizal enters the university. So in April 1877 na kung saan si Rizal is malapit na mag 16 years old, nag-enroll siya sa University of Santo Tomas sa kursong Philosophy and Letters. So may dalawang dahilan siya kung bakit ito yung course na tinake niya. First is ito ang gusto ng father niya. And second is because hindi niya pa alam kung aling career ang tatahakin niya. So, sumulat siya kay Father Pablo Ramon, rector. So, si Father Ramon is rector of the Ateneo o yung head ng Ateneo na naging mabait at naging mabuti sa kanya during his student days sa Ateneo. Sa sulat niya is humingi siya ng advice kay Father Pablo Ramon sa kung anong career ba dapat ang tatahakin niya. But unfortunately, si Father Ramon that time is nasa Mindanao. And during their time, aabudin pa ng months bago dumating ang sulat from Manila to Mindanao. Matinulak na talaga itong manok ba? So, consequently, during his first year term noong 1877 to 78 sa University of Santo Tomas, he studies cosmology. When we say cosmology, it is the scientific study of the large-scale properties of the universe as a whole, or in other words, it deals with the nature of the universe. And nag-aral din siya ng metaphysics, kung saan it examines the fundamental nature of reality, like existence, purpose, and etc. He also studies theodicy, where it means an attempt to justify or defend God in the face of evil. And history of philosophy. So from the word itself, it talks about the historical development of philosophical thought. And when we say philosophy, it is the study of the basic ideas about knowledge, truth, right and wrong, and the nature and the meaning of life. So, sa next school term noong, nung next school term noong 1878 to 1879, doon na tinake ni Rizal ang medicine. So, may dalawa ulit siyang rason bakit niya tinake ang course na medicine. First is, gusto niyang maging physician to cure her mother's failing eyesight. So, ayun no, gusto niyang magamot ang kanyang mother. And second reason niya is sumagot na sa sulat niya si Father Pablo Rector, si Father Pablo Ramon ng Ateneo, kung saan humingi siya ng advice, di ba? So ni-recommend nito na kunin niya is medicine. So that ends the story of Rizal enters the university. Now let's move to finishes surveying course in Ateneo 1878. So during his first school term sa University of Santo Tomas noong 1877 to 78, nag-aaral rin si Rizal sa Ateneo. He took the vocational course leading to the title of Perito Agrimensor, na ang ibig sabihin ay expert surveyor. So yung mga panahon na yon, yung colleges for boys is nag-o-offer ng mga vocational courses tulad ng agriculture, commerce, mechanics, and surveying. So si Rizal, as usual, is naging pinakamagaling na naman sa lahat ng subjects in surveying course sa Ateneo. Kung saan na nakakuha siya ng gold medals in agriculture and topography. When we say topography, it is the study and description of the physical features of an area. For example, yung mga bundok, valleys, or rivers. Now, going back, so at the age of 17, naipasa na agad ni Jose Rizal yung final examination in the surveying course. Pero hindi pa pwedeng i-grant sa kanya yung title as a surveyor dahil below age pa daw siya. So, saka pa na-issue sa kanya yung title as a surveyor is noong November 5, 1881 na, kung saan 20 years old na si Jose Rizal. So, although si Rizal is isa na ngang Tomasian, di ba? Madalas niya pa rin binibisita ang Ateneo. Hindi lang dahil sa surveying course niya, but because nanatili pa rin siyang loyal sa Ateneo dahil marami daw siyang magagandang memories dito at dahil rin sa mga professors ng Jesuits. Kasi unlike daw sa mga Dominicans, by the way, Jesuits and Dominicans are rival educators. So, mga educators sila. So, going back, unlike daw sa mga Dominicans, minahal daw siya ng mga Jesuits and inspired him na mag-acquire pa ng mas mataas na knowledge. Therefore, he continued to participate actively in Ateneo's extracurricular activities. So, siya ang president ng Academy of Spanish Literature and secretary naman siya sa Academy of Natural Sciences. Tinuloy niya rin yung kanyang membership sa Marian Congregation kung saan secretary rin siya doon. Now that ends the topic of finishing surveying course in Ateneo 1878. Now let's move on to romances with other girls. So sa kabila ng pag-aaral ni Rizal sa University of Santo Tomas and extracurricular activities niya sa Ateneo, meron pa rin siyang maraming oras para sa love. He was a romantic dreamer who liked to sip the nectar of love. So dito, they metaphorically compares love to nectar, which is sweet and desirable substance. So yung mga sad experiences niya with his first love made him more wiser in the ways of romance. Okay, so shortly after mawala sa kanya si Segunda Katigbak, may niligawan siyang isang babae sa Calamba. So sa memoirs niya, o yung parang diary o bibliography niya kung saan niya sinusulat yung mga thoughts niya or mga nangyari sa araw niya, sinabi niya rito na he called her simple Miss L. So Miss L yung tawag niya dun sa girl na niligawan niya. So dinescribe niya to as fair, seductive, and attractive eyes. So after ito bisitahin ng ilang beses ni Rizal sa bahay nito kasi nga 'di ba nililigawan niya itong si Miss L. So after niya itong bisitahin ng ilang beses, bigla na lang siyang tumigil sa panliligaw and the romance died a natural death. So hanggang ngayon walang kahit sino man ang nakakaalam kung sino ba itong si Miss L na to. Rizal himself did not give her name, so hindi niya ito pinangalanan. Hence, her identity is lost to his history. However, nagbigay siya ng dalawang rason bakit bigla niya itong tinigilan. First is, di pa siya nakamove on kay Segunda na first love niya. And second is di payag ang father niya sa pag-iibigan nila. So, several months later, during his sophomore year at the University of Santo Tomas, by the way, sophomore means second year na siya. So, nag-board siya sa bahay ni Doña Conca Leiva sa Intramuros. So, kapitbahay nitong si Doña Conca kung saan nag-board si Jose Rizal ay sina Kapitan Juan at Kapitana Sanday Valenzuela, parents of a charming girl named Leonor. So si Rizal na isang medical student that time from Calamba is very welcome sa bahay ng mga Valenzuela o bahay nila Leonor kasi nga siya ang nagbibigay buhay sa mga parties nila kasi very entertaining daw si Rizal kasi marami rin siyang alam na magic tricks gamit ang kamay. So ayun na nga, niligawan ni Jose Rizal si so ayun na nga. So going back, ayun na nga, niligawan ni Rizal itong si Leonor, who is a tall girl. So isa siyang matangkad na babae, almost pantay na sila ng tangkad ni Jose Rizal. Now based on my research, si Rizal is 5'3" ang height niya. And he had a regal bearing, sabi ni Rizal, ayon sa description niya kay Leonor Valenzuela. So, yung posture niya daw is talagang halatang galing sa mataas na pamilya kasi may confidence, ganun. So, yan ang meaning ng regal bearing. So, pinapadalhan siya ni Rizal ng mga love letters na ang gamit niya is invisible ink. So, gawa ang ink na to sa asin at tubig lang. And it left no trace on the paper. So, di ba marunong si Rizal sa chemistry? Tinuruan niya si Orang, o ginawa niyang nickname para kay Leonor, yung Orang. So, tinuruan niya si Orang kung paano magbasa ng kahit anong letters na naka-invisible ink. Sinabi niya na kailangan mo lang itong initin gamit ang kandila or lamp para mag-appear ang mga nakasulat. Pero gaya nga nung una, tumigil siya agad sa panliligaw kay Leonor. Magpo-propose na nga sana siya, kaso gaya nung una is hindi pa rin talaga siya naka-move on kay Segunda. So talagang great yung love niya for Segunda. So ang next romance naman ni Rizal is with another Leonor. So Leonor ulit yung pangalan ng sunod na babae ni Rizal. Pero si Leonor Rivera, na pinsan niya from Camiling. So noong 1879, at his first sa junior year niya sa university, is tumira siya sa Casa Tomasina, a boarding house managed by his uncle Antonio Rivera at number 6, Calle Santo Tomas, Intramuros. So yun yung address ng boarding house na minamanage ng tito niya na si Antonio Rivera, na may isang magandang anak na si Leonor. So yun na nga si Leonor Rivera, a student at La Concordia College. So kung saan din nag-aaral ang kapatid ni Rizal na si Soledad, yung bunso nila. So pinanganak si Leonor sa Camiling, Tarlac on April 11, 1867. So Leonor was a frail, beautiful girl, means that siya ay physically weak but still possesses beauty. Yun yung meaning ng frail. Mahina yung kanyang katawan. Tender as a budding flower with kindly wistful eyes, means that Leonor was a soft person and friendly. So mabilis na nga na nagkamabutihan si Jose and Leonor. So sa mga letters ni Leonor para kay Rizal is sinasay niya yung name niya doon as Tainis para itago nila yung intimate relationship nila from their parents and friends. By the way, I made my own research about the meaning of Tainis. So Tainis means, to my unforgettable and dearest lover, I dedicate this picture. So, that ends the topic of Rizal's romances with other girls. And now, let's move on to a victim of Spanish brutality. Okay, so tapos na tayo sa Rizal's romances with other girls. Now, let's move on sa victim of Spanish officers' brutality. So, dito naman is, yung freshman pa lang si Rizal, bilang isang medical student sa University of Santo Tomas, is una niyang naranasan o natikman ang Spanish brutality. So, one dark night in Calamba, during his summer vacation noong 1880, naglalakad siya sa isang kalye na naglalakad siya sa isang kalye. So, hindi niya masyadong napansin o naaninag ng maayos na may isa palang lieutenant ng Guardia Civil siyang kasalubong. Kasi nga madilim sa daan. So, as a result, hindi siya nakapagsalute dito or even binati ito ng magandang gabi. Kaya nairita o nagalit yung lieutenant and hinampas niya ng sword sa likod si Jose Rizal. Hindi naman daw ganun kalala yung natamo niyang sugat, but it was painful according to him. So nung nakarecover siya, nireport niya yung nangyari kay General Primo de Rivera na isang Spanish Governor General sa Pilipinas that time. Pero wala man lang nangyari sa inireklamo niya dahil nga isa nga raw siyang Indio. Ito yung tawag nila sa mga Pilipino noon. And yung lieutenant na nanakit sa kanya is isa ring Espanyol. At yung pinagsumbungan ni Rizal is isa ring Espanyol. So what do you expect, diba? Sino ba naman si Rizal para sa kanila? Kaya expected na wala ka talaga makukuhang justice from them. So sumulat siya ng letter kay Blumentritt dated March 21, 1887. Sinabi niya rito na, I went to the Captain General but I could obtain no justice. My wound lasted 2 weeks. So ayun na nga. Very sad kasi wala siyang nakuhang justice. So that's the end of my part. Thank you for listening.